All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something different. We're going to share our story with you. Now, everybody has a story, and our story is not unique, but we've had a number of people ask us, how did we get to where we are today, and what were the things that happened in the past that got us here? And so we're going to share that with you, but man, we're going to hop inside to tell you that story because it's freezing cold out here. So let's go. All right, guys, we're going to get started here. I'm going to share with you my story and how we started. And just for a frame of reference, I'm Marlin, the owner of Quality Trucking Equipment, 45 years old. So when I was 19, I moved back to Pennsylvania. I grew up in Wisconsin, moved to Pennsylvania, and worked at a truck shop. And I was there 8 years, and that's where I learned a lot about trucks. I was always very passionate about trucks. You know, a couple of years ago, I was going through some of my old school stuff, and I found a composition that I was supposed to write, and it was, what do you want to do when you're big? And I put down that I want to be either mechanic or an excavator operator. And I think I made the right choice by going into the mechanic world. And so I've been involved with trucks basically my whole life. Started my first real mechanic job when I was 19, and I worked there 8 years, and that was back in Pennsylvania. And then the opportunity came to move to Michigan. So 2007, 27 years old, a wife, and a 9-week-old baby. Moved to Michigan. And I look back at that and say, wow, that was kind of foolish. But you know what? I was young and dumb and didn't know better. And sometimes ignorance truly is bliss. My wife and I, we had a ton of energy and we were full of life, ready to go. And the opportunity came up to move out here, and so we did. I owned a house in Michigan. I sold that house, moved to Michigan and rented a house. And then that money from selling the house is what I used to get started. And so the first thing I did was look for a shop, and I found a shop just down the road from where we are right now, 2 miles down the road. And I stopped in there to visit with the man that was selling it. He had been trying to sell it for quite a while. I asked him if he would sell it on a land contract, and he said, you know, I've had 100 people ask me if I would sell it on a land contract, and he said, I've told every one of them no. But he said, I'll think about this one. And I left, and I got 20 minutes down the road, and he called me, and he said, we'll do it. We'll do it on a land contract. And so that was a real answer to prayer, because I just didn't know how I was going to get started at that age with just money from selling my house. I didn't want to buy a building. Renting was not even an option. I couldn't find anything to rent around here. And so we did that deal. I got into my first shop, and let me back up just a little bit. When I still lived in Pennsylvania, I was telling a business owner my big plan of moving to Michigan and starting a shop. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I am going to buy wrecked trucks. I love fixing up wrecked trucks, big trucks. That's something I've always been passionate about. And I actually did that for quite a few years. And I'm going to also build dump trucks. We're going to buy cabin chassis and put dump bodies on the back. And he looked at me and he said, if you do that, you're going to fail. And I was really taken aback, like, wow, that's a pretty bold statement. But he said, that's a great place to be, but it's not where you start. He said, at your age, you need to start at the bottom. He said, just start a mechanic shop. You're a mechanic, you know how to fix trucks. And it was really, really good advice, because he told me it's just simple. You fix someone's truck, they pay you. Next truck comes in, you fix it, and they pay you. But if you buy all these trucks to fix up and you're not selling trucks, you have zero income. And so that really made a lot of sense to me, and I thought of that conversation many times over the years. So moved to Michigan, and we opened up a truck repair shop. Big trucks. We advertised for semis, trailers, and campers. So that was in 2007. It really started out strong. There was definitely a need in this area for that, and we were busy almost from day one. The local community was really, really good to us. They brought a lot of trucks in. We were busy. I immediately hired people to help out. I think within 2 months, I got my dealer's license. Something I was very passionate about was buying and selling things. I got my dealer's license, and I got into buying stuff and fixing it up. So that really supplemented our work. But yeah, the business continued to grow. I think the first year we bought a heavy-duty tow truck. The local towing company here in Clare, he decided to get out of the heavy-duty towing and gave me the opportunity to buy his big tow truck, 1987 Freightliner. And had never even thought about towing, but it looked like a good opportunity. I thought, well, we get calls all the time. Guys broke down along the road. He needs to be towed and then repaired. And so we bought it with the mindset that it'll really feed the shop. And so we bought that and discovered that I really like towing. And that was a good move there. I've never regretted that. So from there, we added actually a number of trucks to our fleet. We got into doing road service. We had 3 service trucks that we would go out and fix trucks along the interstate. That was a really, really good thing for us. It produced very good income. It's a very profitable business, but it's very brutal, very hard, and it's any time of the day or night. Trucks broke down, you got to go out there and fix it. But I really, really enjoyed that. We had 3 service trucks, so we had 3 tow trucks, and then an off-road recovery unit. So that was a good business. It was a lot of fun. It really complemented our truck repair. And then our buying and selling portion of it continued to grow. And then in 2013, I was 33 years old, and this building right here came up for sale. This used to be a John Deere dealership. Back in the day, it was 1997, it was built for a John Deere dealership. And they sold John Deere tractors out of here and repaired them, or anything John Deere. And that business closed up. And in 2013, this place came up for sale, and I looked at it. And I mean, we had 5,000 square feet at my old shop, which is just down the road. 5,000 square feet, that's it. This was 25,000 square feet and 38 acres. 5 acres of parking lot. I came up here and looked at it, and I mean, I immediately fell in love with it. And I set out to figure out how to purchase this property. And you know, the longer I looked at it, the more I realized it's going to be a really, really big deal. I was 33 years old, and they were asking $500,000 for it. And I was like, $500,000, and it started to scare me. And I finally called up the realtor one day, and I said, you know, I don't think I can do it. It's too big. It's too much. It's going to take me a lifetime to pay for it. And the realtor was somebody that I knew fairly well, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, Marlin, I'm not your realtor right now, I'm your friend. And he said, I know without a shadow of a doubt that you can do it. I'm like, really? He goes, absolutely. And he gave me all the reasons, like it's just up the road from your old location. You've outgrown your old location. And we had poured cement outside. We were fixing trailers outside. In Michigan, we get cold weather. So we were working outside and completely maxed out. So he said, you need the room. You know, you're not really moving locations. It's just up the road. He said, you're going to continue to grow. And he said, you can do it. And I got off the phone and I said, you know what? Somebody believes in me. And that's powerful advice that I'll give you guys out there. If someone believes in you, you can do anything. And I got off the phone and I said, you know what, I can do this. I'm really glad I made that decision to move ahead with it. It was a very positive decision. You know, here we are 2025, and I look back, I mean, that was a lot of money back then, but think about land and building now. I mean, it would be astronomical to go buy 38 acres of land, do all the dirt work, and build a steel building 25,000 square feet. I can't even imagine what the price tag would be. I don't know if you could even do that for 1.5 million or 2 million. So it'd be crazy. So good thing we did that. We moved up here. It was so exciting. We had tons of room, and it really gave us the opportunity to expand into more avenues, really expanded our truck repair, hired more mechanics, because we just had the room and the facility to do it. We were buying and selling anything from used trucks. We were buying garbage trucks that were wrecked, rolled over, and fixing up and reselling. That business was becoming really difficult, and especially the buying wrecks and fixing them up. And the reason for that is insurance companies did not want to insure a vehicle with a rebuilt title, and banks were getting really leery about loaning money on a vehicle with a rebuilt title. So we were doing big stuff. You know, we did hydro excavators. We did front load garbage trucks, we did dump trucks. So we were, you know, higher dollar vehicles. They were fairly late model. We tried to stay within a year old. And I just got tired of fighting that battle of, you know, working with insurance companies and banks that didn't want to get insurance or loan money on these trucks. And I said, you know what, we're gonna have to do something different. We got to change our business. The truck repair was doing well, we were busy, but the buying and selling is what I really wanted to expand into. And it was literally a week later, a salesman stopped by our shop here, and he said, did you guys ever think about installing hook lifts on trucks? He said, we would like to find a dealer distributor here in mid-Michigan to install these hook lifts on chassis. And we're like, wow, we had never thought about that. But it really, I went back to the days of, you know, I dreamed of building dump trucks, and I thought, well, it really goes good with that. And it was multi-lift, and that was the first trucks we built was multi-lift. And so we went down to Perrysburg, Ohio. I didn't even go along on that trip. 2 of the guys from here went, met with some of the people down there, and we liked what we saw, and we decided, you know what, we're gonna start building hook lift trucks. I'll never forget our first hook lift truck. You know, I still had that, buying wreck stuff in my blood, and we went out and bought a Mack Granite triaxle dump truck that was laid over. And we brought it back to the shop, and we took the dump off of it. We put a new cab and a hood on it, and installed our first multi-lift Hooklift on the back of that truck, and sold it almost right away. So we were pretty excited about it. I think back to the trucks we built those first couple years, I often feel sorry for our first few customers because we didn't know what we were doing. Nobody really taught us. We self-learned almost everything. We had some good people here that knew a little bit about that industry, had operated hooklift trucks, but we didn't have hardly any experience with building trucks. So I know we made a lot of mistakes. We bought chassis that were probably not the right thing. We bought used chassis. We bought new chassis that weren't spec'd correctly. But the interesting thing is they sold, and they sold very quickly, and suddenly we realized that there is an opportunity here. And I was not involved in the early stages of that business very much. My interests were much more in the towing and truck repair, so I really stayed focused on that. Had some other people here that were taking the Hooklift thing and really going with it. And we ramped that up pretty quickly. We sold quite a few trucks the first year. I can't remember how many we sold the first year, but it was like 13, and I think the second year was like 20 or 30. But we realized there was an opportunity here. We also realized after a while that we didn't have a clue about production and manufacturing. We made a lot of mistakes. But let's fast forward to 2023. In 22, we had sold right around 80, 90 trucks for that year. 23, there was just a lot of things happening. We had started building dumpsters. We had opened up a shop where we were building dumpsters. We had the truck repair. We had the towing, we had the roadside service, and then we were building all these Hooklift trucks. And because of a number of things that happened, I suddenly realized that I'm going to have to really reel some of this stuff back in. It felt like the wheels of the bus were starting to come off, and made some big changes in 2023. Sold the towing company. It's still here, still out here. The guy that bought it, he rents a corner from me. He rents one of my buildings out there. And so all the trucks, all the equipment is here. I see it still to this day going in and out. But we sold that off, closed the dumpster shop down. Dumpsters is a great business, and I think that the guys building dumpsters, they probably do very well, but you got to do volume. And it's interesting, as I was just talking to a guy I've learned to know that has built dumpsters for like 30 years, and he said the margins have never been this tight on dumpsters. So I looked at that and said, we could continue to do it, but the margins are so slim, do we want to really stay in that? But I decided to get really focused on one thing, and so I really switched. I made a major shift from pursuing everything that looked shiny and appealing and fun to over here, we're going to get very laser focused on one thing, and we're going to get good at it. I still felt at that point that we really weren't that great at building hooklift trucks, and so we really dialed in our processes, our procedure, and the people that were employed here. I tell you what, if there's anything that I learned over my 18 years in business is, for me, it's to be focused on one thing. I know there's guys out there that can do a lot of different things. They can have multiple businesses going at the same time. It worked for a while, but it wasn't the thing for me. Maybe down the road it will be, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'll ever go back to that. But I tell you what, when we really got laser focused on one thing, our business really grew and our customer base got better. Our repeat sales went way up. We have customers that are buying trucks, couple a year. They order 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 at a time, and so that's been a huge thing for us. So yeah, really have dialed in, and we're very passionate about what we do. The thing that gets me so excited is the people that work here. We just have a really good crew of people that are really passionate about this industry. They're all dialed in, and so it's really exciting. So we're all in on these hooklift trucks, and there's a really bright future ahead, I believe, for this industry. All right, guys, so what is our mission here at Quality Trucking Equipment? It's pretty simple. We want to get you the best built truck that's going to last a long time. And one thing you're going to see very quickly when you do business with us is that we don't do a lot of add-ons. We don't do a lot of fancy stuff here. Our trucks are pretty basic. They've got everything that you need to be successful in hauling trash or whatever you're going to do with this truck. But we don't do a lot of the aftermarket stuff, and there's some reasons for that because we want to stay very laser focused in what we're doing. And if you want that stuff, you can definitely get it. It might just be we'll sub it out to another shop, or you can get it after you get the truck. But we keep it simple, keep it basic so that it lasts. A lot of this aftermarket stuff that people add on their trucks to make them look good, they have problems with it down the road, and we don't want to be wrapped up in all that stuff. We want to make this process as simple as we can for you, the customer, when you come here to purchase a truck. We don't want to make it complicated. We want to give you information. We want to give you all the information you can get to make a wise decision on what's the best for you. And then our process is very simple here on how to get a truck, how to make the deposit, how to pay for the truck, how to get connected with a lender, how the titling works, and then how you'll get the truck. We deliver these trucks all across the U.S. We offer that to our customers, that we can deliver it to your front door. So that is another part of our mission, is to make this process very simple and easy for you, the customer. You know, we want to really educate you guys too. That's why we do these videos. Every day when I get to work, I tell myself this and I tell my team, our customers have options. They have options of where they can buy a truck. We are not the only person doing this. We have to be the best option. You know what? At the end of the day, we know you have options, and we know that you can buy the truck anywhere. We hope you buy it here. But at the end of the day, we want to educate you, so whether you buy the truck here or somewhere else, you have the information that you need to make the best decision for you. So that's why we do these videos. We really enjoy doing them. We want to be very transparent as a company. That's part of our mission too, is to be very transparent, lay it all out there to the customer. This is what we do, this is how we do it, and here's information that can hopefully help you. So guys, that's our mission, and we only want to move forward from here. All right guys, so what's our 5-year plan? What are we doing moving forward? I'll tell you, it's going to be very simple. We're going to stay very laser focused on building Hooklift trucks. We're going to continue to do exactly what we're doing today at a controlled growth rate. You know, we don't want to grow too fast. We want to grow, but not too fast. That's how businesses get in trouble, is by growing too fast. I've been that guy. I've done it. Don't want to do it again. We're probably going to make mistakes. We'll learn from them. We'll get better. We want to get better for you. We want to keep putting out the best truck for you, the customer. We're going to continue to share information through videos because we enjoy doing it. Guys, I cannot thank you enough for watching, for being one of our customers, for the feedback that you give us through comments, for interacting with us on social media. It helps us know what you guys are looking for. It helps us know when we make mistakes. It helps us know when we need to get better information out there. So we're going to continue to do this, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you as a customer. So continue to hang in there with us. Hit the like button. Let us know how we can improve our processes, how we can improve our trucks. Here's a fun fact for you. 50% of our viewers drop out within the first 30 seconds. So if you've stayed around till the end of this video, you are important. So thank you for staying with us that long. We do not make these videos to make money on it. That's not why we do it. Do you know how much we have made off of YouTube so far? Sit back, get ready. $168. So if you're thinking we do this because we get paid a lot, no, we don't. We enjoy doing it. Most of all, we just want to be transparent and give you information that will be helpful as you make decisions about buying a truck, growing your business, or starting a dumpster company. That's really what we're here for. So we're going to continue to do what we're doing right now. Let's just take a moment here and reflect on some of the things that we have learned in our years of doing this. I just want to really focus on, how we used to build trucks when we first started out. I'm going to be honest with you, we kind of cobbled these things together. We didn't know. We should have had better processes, better procedures. We should have used some better components. And we have really dialed in that process, and we have really focused on it, especially the last 2.5 years here of how we build these trucks. Now every truck gets set up with a backup camera. Every truck has strobe lights front and back. They're set up to pull trailers. We have really dialed in our paint process of how we paint our bumpers. The hooks come powder coated now. Every truck goes through a quality check before it leaves. That's a really, really important part, to make sure it goes through a very detailed list of things that they check to make sure that that truck is ready for the customer. In fact, we even have a dumpster here that's loaded with dirt that they'll pick it up, test the hoist out multiple times, make sure there's no hydraulic leaks. And guys, I can't tell you, no matter how hard we try, it's still crazy that sometimes something gets missed. but we've really dialed in those processes of how we do things to be a lot better than what we used to be. Another thing is the truck chassis itself. You know, for the first couple years there, man, we just bought trucks from dealers all across the US. And these trucks came in, they had different specs, different horsepower, different transmissions. Some had differential locks, some didn't. Now we order all these trucks to our specs that we feel that you guys have learned to appreciate. We know what you guys like to run. So they got good horsepower, they got the bigger Allison transmissions, so they have live PTO. They all have differential lock. They all have exhaust brake. You know, they've got a decent chrome package to them. So these trucks come in, they're all the same. Our process and procedure out in the shop of how we build every truck has been dialed in. Every guy out there in the shop that's building these trucks has to build them all exactly the same. We've had trouble where one guy would say, well, I want to do it this way. Another guy wants to wire the PTO in this way, and another guy wants to do the strobe lights this way. Here's our process, follow it. That way, when there's ever trouble down the road, we know exactly how that truck was built. We have really worked hard with the products that we use. Tarps, fenders, strobe lights, camera. We really have tried to find the best product out there. Partner with the vendors that offer the best product and stand behind their product. That's really important. I tell you what, if it's man-made, it's gonna fail. And it could fail right out of the box. But we wanna work with a vendor that says, you know what? Here's a new one, ship it out, take care of it. We've had that happen. Camera system fail, boom, send them a new one. It's taken care of. Doesn't always go that way, but it's gotten a lot better. We really do a lot with lenders here. You know, so many of our customers need financing. And so we have quite a few options that we offer to our customers. And I think back in the day, you know, customers would say, well, I got to get lending. And we'd be like, well, you know what, call this lender. Now we connect that. We do that in-house. We connect you, our customer, with the right lender that we feel is going to offer you the best rate, the best interest rate. So that's really important to us. Our titling department. Oh, I think back to the horror stories of our titling department. One of the most important things in selling trucks is the title. There's zero room for error. There can be no mistakes on titles. A customer needs to get his title, his MSO, immediately after the truck is sold. Can't be waiting. And so we have probably one of the best title people in the world in our office here doing that. And she is really, really good at her job. So we've really dialed that in. Customer support, we've really tried to improve that. Like, you know, after the truck is sold, delivered, customers using it, we do a follow-up call. Hey, how's it going? Is there any issues? What can we do better in the future? And we want to hear from our customers. How can we make it better? We've made a lot of improvements out in the shop just so that the shop flow is smoother for them building trucks. We've added newer equipment, better lighting, did a lot of work up here in the offices, made a lot of improvements. So we're slowly but surely getting there. And so as I reflect on all that, those are the changes that we're making. And guess what? We still have a lot of changes to make in the future. We're going to continue to grow and get better. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you for being a customer. Thank you for watching this content. And we look forward to growing this business with you. Check out some of our other social media platforms. Head over to Facebook and look at our page over there. And remember, if you need a truck, call one of our sales professionals here. We'll be so happy to help you. Give us a call, 989-802-0907, and we'll answer any questions, walk you through the process. If you got a business question, hit me up. I'll be more than happy to talk business with you. And I'd love to hear from you guys. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, keep it quality.